look at. Okay, you're looking here. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm looking there when I talk to people. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for that. Hey guys, welcome to another one of our live session. We may make a couple of mistakes since we changed the place of the camera, so just don't be too afraid. We're still talking to you guys, even if you look here sometimes. But yeah, so I'm Robin and this is Laura, and we are the team behind BackpackerGuide.NZ. And our job is to tell you everything about traveling in New Zealand.
Yep, so we run this travel guide called BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is a free online guide for you guys to basically browse anything to do with New Zealand, whether you're planning a working holiday or maybe a camper van road trip around New Zealand, whether you're a family or a backpacker or anything, we have tons of information on BackpackerGuide.NZ for you guys to check out. But if you're not really into reading, we do this live Q&A session every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So you guys can come along and ask your New Zealand travel questions. Now, just to sort of tell you what those times are around the world. So that's 8 a.m. New Zealand time. In the UK and France, that's on a Saturday at 8 or 9 p.m. In the USA, that's on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. EST or 12 p.m. PST. In India, that is bright and early on a Sunday morning at 12:30 a.m. And in Australia, that's at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And every single Sunday, we do this live Q&A session. So you guys can come onto the live chat and ask your New Zealand travel questions. But if you don't manage to make the live Q&A session, we do take down your questions throughout the week, which you can put in the comments of any of our YouTube videos. And we add them to a pool of questions, which we also go through during this live Q&A session.
Exactly. So to get started with, you guys can put in the live chat where you are from and also what time is it for you guys? Because I think some of the time down there that we just said are absolutely wrong. So yeah, that's just what I want to say. And then yeah, any questions you may have about traveling in New Zealand, just put them in the live chat right now, and we're here to answer them. So it can be about things to do, about places to see. It can be about how to organize your trip and all of that. But in the meantime, while you guys are getting warmed up in the live chat, we'll go through some questions that we received in the previous weeks. And I think we're going to start with a question from Jonas.
Okay, I'll read the question. So Jonas N on Facebook asked, hey, we are traveling at 4 people, 2 adults, 1 adolescent and 1 kid around New Zealand in about a month. We will rent a camper van and plan in staying in holiday parks along the way. Do you have any tips on what to do in the evenings when staying in a holiday park?
That's a really cool question. I mean, that's the truth. A lot of people are planning their full days, so much to do, during the days. You're going to do a jet boat, you're going to go do this hike, you're going to check this out, you're going to check that out. And then after you're in your holiday park, locked into a 4 meters by 4 meters box.
Well, you're not exactly locked in there, but yeah.
But so you're just there and you're like, okay, well, usually you're pretty tired. So I think the first thing you're doing is sleeping. First thing is rest, because you have another crazy day tomorrow, right? So take some a good night of rest. I mean, we're big believers on wake up really early in the morning and go to bed early at night. So like that, you get to do more in the morning and everything like that. So the first thing is have a good meal and sleep. But there is obviously plenty of other things to do. And actually, since we spend so much time on the road, we do have kind of a nice list. So we'll go through that now.
Yeah. So one of the things you can be doing, which is pretty much available in any holiday park in New Zealand, is having a barbecue. Barbecues are a very Kiwi thing. So you will always find barbecue facilities in any of the holiday parks or in most campsites in New Zealand. So yeah, just barbecuing some stuff on the barbecue is just a fun way to sort of do mealtime. You're outside, you're just the smell of the barbecue is always really nice. You can usually pick up some ingredients from local New Zealand ingredients. And
also if you're from the northern hemisphere, I mean, doing barbecue in December or January, which is the kind of summer in New Zealand, is always kind of cool. You kind of do a Christmas barbecue and everything. It's very different. And we both come from Europe, so it was just kind of a very fun novelty at the beginning. I mean, now it's kind of like, yeah, of course we're doing barbecue in December, but at the beginning it was kind of a fun novelty.
Yeah, just to note though that although most barbecues are free to use in holiday parks in New Zealand, there's sometimes barbecues that are coin operated. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes you might need some spare change if you want to use the barbecues. All right.
So if there is no barbecue, if there is no barbecues around and you don't feel like cooking, you don't feel like using the holiday park's kitchen, which is a great place to meet people, or you don't feel like cooking in your tiny camper van, you can definitely go out to restaurants. There are heaps is a lot. There is plenty and heaps and a lot of restaurants around New Zealand. Plenty of really good food to be had. We do have plenty of other videos on this channel about the cost of life in New Zealand, as well as the price for restaurants and all those kind of things. So feel free to check it out to know what you can expect. But I'd say for a family of 4, like we're talking about right here, 1 adolescent, 2 people, and 1 kid, that should set you around, I'd say, if you're reasonable, about between $150 and $200 going to the restaurants, considering a bit of a shared entree, a shared platter at the beginning, and then after a main each, and then a bit of a dessert, and maybe a couple of drinks for the adult. That should be around that price range. And obviously, I'm talking in New Zealand dollars. Yeah. But yeah, restaurants. But if you feel like saving money and you're traveling in holiday park, definitely use the kitchen in the holiday park. So another great thing to do in the evening is to actually cook. Use the kitchen of the holiday park. Meet some other people. The best place to meet people in the whole of New Zealand is the kitchen of your holiday park or the kitchen of your hostel. Honestly, you will meet so many people there. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. You get to chat, you exchange a few ingredients and all of that. So it's kind of like, it's an overall like social experience to cook in the holiday park. So I think it's definitely one of the actual must-do in the evening in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I remember going into a holiday park kitchen, and I started to make my food, but like there was this huge group of people that were actually barbecuing and sort of doing a big meal for their group, and they were like, hey, we've got so much food, why don't you grab a plate and take some? I was like, okay. So there's always like nice surprises like that. Yeah. And I actually brought a plate to you in the camper van as well.
Yeah, I thought that was tasting delicious. I was like, all right, it's unlike you. It's unlike you.
So another thing you can be doing, which it's kind of boring, really. It's okay, but it's watching a movie. So I'm sure you probably watch movies back at home, but if you're like...
I'm sure you know what movies are.
Yeah, they don't really need explaining, but it's always just a way to sort of, it is a good way of resting after if you've had a pretty tough day, but you're not ready to quite go to sleep yet, then you can always watch a movie. A lot of the big camper van companies have TVs in the big RVs, so you can watch movies on your own TV in your RV. And a lot of the time they even come with a few DVDs, but then
Juicy is famous for doing that. They give you a TV that has a DVD player in it, and then you get like 1 or 2 DVDs, and they say exchange with any other Juicy camper van. When you see a Juicy camper van, you're like, well, did you have a better movie? We always get the crap one. Let's be honest, we always get the worst movie.
And I think a lot of the TVs, they're quite modern, so they might have a USB stick. So if you do come to New Zealand with a USB with a few movies on, that's
use your laptop and your iPad.
Yeah, well, it depends obviously on what you want to bring to New Zealand, but yeah, you can always bring a laptop or an iPad with movies on it. And some holiday parks actually have a DVD library or DVD rentals. So yeah, that's also an option.
So movie-wise, what we'd like to do, we like to actually, keep it thematic. There have been so many movies which have been shot in New Zealand, like seriously a ton. In fact, if you want to know, the 10 most popular one, we have an article on BackpackerGuide.NZ. If you just type like movies on the search bar on top, you'll be able to find a list of movies that's shot in New Zealand. So, we like to watch like The Lord of the Rings. Obviously, Narnia was shot in New Zealand as well, and plenty others. So it's kind of cool to kind of watch a movie that was shot around the area where we are. So that's kind of like one way we're doing it.
Yeah.
So another great thing to do when you're in a camper van, and one of our favorite things to do actually when we are in a camper van is playing board games. We play a lot of board games. So now we don't really play like those big Monopolies and everything, but something a little bit more
travel size.
Something a bit more travel size and also a little bit more thinky. So there are a lot of really kind of small board games, and it's a great way to bring people together as well. So obviously, a deck of cards, very easy. Everybody knows a bunch of games with that. Uno, everybody knows Uno. It's pretty simple. But then there are a bit more like obscure kind of games, but are still very, very easy to learn. So if you guys want to Google it, there is a game called Sushi Go, which is really fun and great, to teach to people. It takes a second to teach. And there is another game called Love Letters, which is very easy to teach people as well. And it's kind of like some fun-paced game, which actually just involves everyone. Actually, we should do a list. We should do a list of like our favorite
best travel board games.
Yeah, we'll do that. You know what? We'll do a list for you guys one day with like all the board games that we think is the best thing to travel around.
Yeah.
So playing board games, great to meet new people, because there's some people are going to be a bit intrigued about this and that.
Yeah.
And also great to kind of just pass time together and have some good family time.
And it's more interactive than just, for instance, watching a movie and zoning out. So I definitely prefer to play board games.
But New Zealand's all about the outdoors, so
so another thing you can be doing on an evening is going for an evening walk. A lot of holiday parks have walks like really nearby or even leading from the holiday park, because you can find holiday parks in some really amazing areas around New Zealand. So just check out what's around the holiday park basically, and you'll often find actual walking trails. In fact, the very first holiday park Robin and I stayed in when we did New Zealand's biggest gap year, where we did 365 days, 365 activities. And basically the first activity we did was do a hike straight from our holiday park, because there was an actual like hiking trail from there. So always going for an evening walk is just a good time to spend the evening.
Exactly. So another great thing to do while you are out on an evening walk is to do stargazing. You will find that the stars in New Zealand are looking very different in the northern hemisphere. So the night sky is very different. Also, New Zealand has kind of a low population, so the light pollution in most parts in New Zealand are quite low. So you get some absolutely stunning night skies. So if you do have a cloudless night, it is fantastic. And there are some great apps that you can get on your phone, like just type stargazing in your App Store or Google Play Store or anything like that. Just type stargazing, and you'll find some fantastic apps that will literally tell you what you're looking at. There's even some you can actually point the camera at. It's
and the constellations.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So stargazing, really awesome to do in New Zealand.
Yeah. Another thing we have on the list, which you've already briefly mentioned, is sleep. So obviously you need some rest, and sleeping is definitely one thing to do in the holiday park, because that's pretty much your main purpose of going to a holiday park, is going for somewhere to sleep the night. So we'll just quickly brush over that one. So sleep obviously on the list. But another thing you can do is read a book. So a lot of people like to read. It's quite a relaxing thing to do, nice quiet time. You'll find that a lot of holiday parks do have a book exchange, so you can pick up various books as you're traveling around New Zealand. Or, usually people have their own preference for what they want to read on, like e-readers and stuff like that, or on their phones. So there's plenty of options there. If you're a reader, you know how you like to read your books, so I don't really need to go.
Read something thematic, something about traveling or something about New Zealand.
Lord of the Rings.
So another great thing to do, especially for kids, is to write a travel journal. Just making, maybe you can get the kids to say, tell them you have to write like kind of one page every day, and they kind of write what they did and everything like that. It's really cool to be able to kind of read back what you've done. So I don't know, it's just kind of a great way to kind of keep everything you want to remember, because every single time you say, I'll never forget that. You may at some point. So it's kind of really cool to do a travel journal. It passes the time very well, but also like I think it's a really cool activities and something you can get back to later. So I think it's really fun.
Yeah. Another thing you can be doing is planning the next day. So sort of plan your route, where you're going to be going, what activities you're going to be doing, maybe where you're going to stop to eat. So it's just always really cool to especially if you're on a family trip, sort of get excited for the next day. And it's also makes things a little bit less stressful if you actually have more of a plan of where you're going, and you're not just sort of running around like a headless chicken. So that's always like a good way to spend I don't know, maybe about half an hour or something on an evening. Not something that you have to invest a lot of time in, but it's always worth doing.
And lastly, the last thing that I would do in a holiday park, and we kind of touched up on it a little bit throughout everything we've said, but it's using the facilities of the holiday park you are staying in to their full extent. Some of them have massive bouncing pillows. Some of them have mini golf. Some of them have DVD exchanges. Some of them have plenty
Game
of books.
rooms.
Some of them are like game rooms, so you can play table tennis.
Yeah.
There is really a lot of it. There's basket. Some of them have basketball courts. Some of them have car that you can pedal and go around, and some of them organize tours, and some of them do this and do that. There is really a lot to do in holiday park, and every holiday park is different. Some of them have massive swimming pools with diving caves and swim to bars.
Yes.
I mean, there are some absolutely epic holiday
some might
parks.
have like hot pools as well, so you can go relax in a hot pool.
So there is really crazy amount of stuff in holiday parks around New Zealand. They're all very different. So use the facilities of the holiday park to their full extent. Holiday park owners and operators know that most of the time you spend time in a holiday park in the evening. So almost all of those facilities are open in the evening. It's very rare to have a holiday park that says, yes, we have a pool, but it closes at 4 p.m. That would be ridiculous. That would be counterproductive, and it's not the case. So there is really a ton to do in a holiday park. So use their facilities.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 10 or more. I don't know how many, but that's plenty of things that you can be doing in an evening in a holiday park when traveling in New Zealand. If you guys find that useful, click like. It's a great way to reward us for all our hard work. And obviously hit subscribe if you want to know more about New Zealand. And plenty more information on BackpackerGuide.NZ. I'm going to go back to the live chat now. All right, everybody's waking up on the live chat. I like it. Martins Izuogu says, hi, morning. I'm from Nigeria, but currently living and working in Dubai. Which is the average city to live in New Zealand when it comes to cost of living, Auckland or Christchurch? Definitely Christchurch. Auckland is way too expensive to live in. It's not fun. Sorry, do you want to add something?
Just to get straight to the point. Yeah.
Do you want to go?
No, I
okay,
agree.
cool.
I agree. Yeah.
So Adil Mula say, hello, Robin and Laura. I would like to know where in New Zealand I can as a tourist find the most affordable raw honey. Raw is very different.
Yeah, well, in terms of raw, as in having like the highest concentration of manuka in it, I don't think there's such a thing as an affordable jar of
it is expensive.
Raw manuka honey. It's going to be quite costly wherever you go, but the best thing is to maybe try your chances as you're traveling around New Zealand. You'll often see signs on the roadside saying like manuka honey sold here, or that sort of thing, where there's sort of like beekeepers with their own sort of honey stations and things, where you might be able to get a little bit more of an affordable deal because you're buying straight from the beekeeper or the farmer. So that's probably my suggestion. I don't know if you've got anything.
Yeah, so for me, I will tell you first where you can find the most expensive one is any tourist shop. If you go to any gift shop, tourist shop at the airport, this is when the price are going to be way too high. A really good compromise is to buy it from the supermarket. Actually, there is a huge, massive selection of honey in New Zealand supermarket. You'll be really surprised on that. And you'll be able to find them at a much more affordable price than you will be able to find them in gift shops. So I'll definitely go either supermarket or sign on the side of the roads. And because those things change often, we can't really give you much kind of pointers on exactly where to find them. But cool. Omar Hamed says, hey guys, love the channel. I'm coming to New Zealand in 3 months. I want to work and live in Christchurch for 6 months. Any tips on accommodation and how easy it is to get a job? We have plenty of tips for you, Omar. We actually have multiple videos about accommodation and works in Christchurch. We also have many videos on this channel about jobs in Christchurch as well. So if you are watching us on the phone, just type on the search bar of YouTube. You can just type jobs and then BackpackerGuide.NZ, and you'll have the whole list of all our videos about job. And you can do the same thing with Christchurch and then BackpackerGuide.NZ. Or if you do watch us on a desktop computer or laptop, you are able to use the search bar on the channel to find all those things. So we have heaps of tips for you. And if you feel like, sometimes I speak with a funny accent or Laura speaks too fast with the English accent, we're sorry about that. And what you can do is to actually go on www.backpackerguide.nz and then browse the website. This is where we put literally the encyclopedia of working, traveling in New Zealand, all of that. So we have all of that in writing form, which is much easier to kind of understand because you can read at your own pace. So it's www.backpackerguide.nz. And if you're unsure, write in the description of this video, there is a link for you and you can go there. Because I know that sometimes I either speak too fast or I have a funny accent. I'm very sorry about that, guys. All right, then we have Pedro Oliveira say, guys, have you spent a night at the Muller hut? If yes, is it okay to tent outside to enjoy the sky instead of sleeping inside the huts? Thanks in advance. So we have not. However, I don't think this one you can sleep outside. I think you have to sleep in the hut.
The only way you can actually tent around a hut is if there is a designated campsite like next to the hut. You can't pitch a tent around any of the huts in New Zealand if you're doing one of the hiking trails. You have to actually stay in the hut. It's just basically a way so that the Department of Conservation can make sure that they, maintain the area and the beautiful landscapes that you're in, just to make sure that things don't get too messy. And so, yeah, you won't be able to tent outside. I'm pretty sure the Muller hut as well, you won't be able to pitch a tent outside there, but any of the huts, you can only pitch a tent where there is actually a campsite. Yeah.
So we're not 100% sure. We just need to kind of do a bit of research for that. But I'm like our gut feeling is you can't sleep next to it. You have to stay in the hut.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can enjoy the night sky. You know what I mean? If you sleep in the tent anyway, you don't see the sky either. So you can walk out of the hut and just enjoy the sky as well. So,
yeah, exactly.
It's not a massive building, a hut, right? It's very small. So you open the door and then you're out already.
Yeah.
So you still will enjoy the beautiful night skies.
Yeah.
Then we have Thomas 10. It says, "Hi guys, how are you guys today?" Very well. What about you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm good,
cool.
I'm good.
Pretty awesome. How do you guys like the new setup? We're a little bit further away from the camera. Things giving a little bit more space. Space is awesome. And he says, I have a question. He or she says, I have a question that I can't find on the internet. It's about health. I'm going to New Zealand with my working holiday visa. I want to know how subsidy pills, medicines, plus work. I saw on the internet that the pills I took is on the government subsidy. Is it for everyone or only for people that has New Zealand citizen? Thanks. All right, so you can come to New Zealand with about 3 months worth of your pill if you want to come here to have that. Then you will have to go see a doctor. So you will have to pay for the consultation with a doctor that will range between, it depends where you are in New Zealand, but between
$30 to $80.
$30 to $80, yeah. And then they're going to give you a prescription. And then with the prescription, you'll be able to go get the pills at a subsidy price. It would depend, what kind of pills you're taking. Can be $5 for $4, can be $10.
Yeah.
It depends on what it is.
Yeah. So any pill, pretty much all pills that you get sort of prescribed to you from the doctor are subsidized from the government. You don't have to be a New Zealand citizen. It's just basically you've gone to get that prescription from the doctor. There are some obviously medication that's sold in pharmacies and things, but these are very rarely discounted and they're usually more expensive. So even if you want to get some paracetamol and you go and get paracetamol through a prescription from the doctor, it would always be cheaper than actually buying through a pharmacy, for instance.
Well, it depends. If the pill that you take is not that expensive, the $80 it costs you to go get the prescription in the first place, maybe like...
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying exclusively to go get some paracetamol to go to the doctor's first. No, you go to the pharmacy to get some paracetamol, but I'm just using that as an example. Yeah.
All right, so I hope this helps you, Thomas. Kuroneko Hong. I'm sorry. Kuroneko Hong says, I have 2 questions. Is the Natsuki Salmon Fishing and Cafe still open? Yes, it is. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's actually a place where you can fish your own salmon. And once you get it, they will cook it and serve it for you. It's a pretty cool place. And we have a video about that on the channel. So to find it, you just type Anatoki, ANATOKI, and then BackpackerGuide.NZ on YouTube, and you'll be able to find that.
Yep.
Yes, of course, it's still open. It still operates. It has different opening hours in summer and in winter, because obviously there is much less tourists in New Zealand in winter. But in summer, I think it's 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. pretty much every day. I'm pretty sure they even open on Sundays. So yeah, because there is a lot of families going there as well. And then he says, or he or she, Kuroneko. I think you are a lady looking at the picture. So she says as well, and I will be in Tasman for a short while, as there are any short walks in Tasman which I can go to. There is a lot of short walks, and actually you can make almost every short walk with a boat.
Yeah. So if you if you're going from the side of the Abel Tasman National Park, which is near Kai Teri Teri or Motueka, there's a lot of water taxis which take you into the park, and you can basically walk one way and the water taxi will pick you up, or the water taxi drops you off and you walk the other way, for instance. So there's definitely ways of doing that in the Abel Tasman National Park for a shorter walk. Alternatively, since you are going to be on the side of the Abel Tasman National Park with the Natsuki salmon fishing, which is on the Golden Bay side of the national park, there are a couple of waterfall hikes in that area. I can't remember the name of the waterfall off the top of my head, but we do have the listing for it on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So if you type on BackpackerGuide.NZ walks Abel Tasman, you'll be able to find that listing, which has a really short waterfall hike into the Abel Tasman National Park, which is another really good option.
And one of the reasons why we send you to the website all the time is because when we answer your question right here while talking, sometimes we kind of forget these tiny details and this and the exact location and everything. But when we put everything on the website, we actually have the space. Give you even the address where to go and all those kind of things.
And how long it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So we give you so much more detail. So here we kind of answer your question in kind of a short form. But then if you're intrigued by it, we always kind of send you back to the site and be like, check out that in depth if that tickles your interest. Yeah. Now, just to piggyback on what Laura just said about some of the short walk you can do in Abel Tasman, where you take the boat and then you walk back, is that if you just feel that walking too long is not your thing, which is absolutely fine, it's a great way to do that. It's still going to take you quite a long time just because you get the boat ride and everything, but you get to see so much.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the best way to explore the Abel Tasman National Park if you don't have the 3 days to do the Great Walk. So if you don't have the 3 days to do the whole way, take a boat. There's even some awesome places which is by kayak. You can do you kayak to a certain place, then you hike a little bit, and then you take back by boat. And so that gives you literally 3 activities in one, which is really definitely worth doing. It's really awesome. And again, we have videos of that right here on this channel of us doing exactly that. And I think it's a really awesome thing to do. And if you want a shorter walk but kind of guided, there's also some really awesome eco kind of tours where you would be able to take a boat and then you walk with a guide that shows you a lot of awesome places, and then you take the boat back. So there's a ton of options.
Yeah.
The Abel Tasman National Park is such a tourist hotspot. There's so many options that you would be mostly you'd be overwhelmed by okay, I got these 23 options.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. And feel free to come back to us if you feel okay, I've done some research. I've seen all those 7 different options for Abel Tasman. Which one should I pick? And come to us and then we can help you out, sieve through all that if you want to. Yeah. All right. So I hope that was helpful to you, Kuroneko. Cool. Then we have Yeshua Hamasiak. Oh, I'm destroying every one of your names, guys. I'm very sorry. Okay. Hello, guys. Do you know, is it getting a tourist visa to visit New Zealand for Indonesian tough? Usually getting a tourist visa is rather easy. The forms is actually quite short. You can do most of it online. There are a lot of countries which are actually exempt of tourist visa. So you can come to New Zealand for up to 3 months without a tourist visa. You just need to get the NZDT, which is...
Well, it's just bill to pay.
Yeah, basically it's that. It's kind of a tax on tourists. So you just answer a few things and then you pay a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so provided that you don't have any criminal history and any of those kind of things, usually pretty easy. Obviously, we don't know your personal condition, your personal exact things, Yeshua, but usually as a general rule, since your question is a bit generic, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Adil Mullah says, thank you very much. Vishal Pranshal says, thanks. I Thomas says, I love the way you speak, Robin. Oh, it's very clear to... You're welcome. And then he says, oh, nice. Thank you very much. I like it. And then Kuroneko says, thank you very much. Have a good day, both of you. We'll continue to support your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Kuroneko is talking about supporting the channel. It's basically very simple. You guys click on subscribe or click on like and any of the kind of videos that you see, and it really helps us a lot to say thank you for all the hard work. Vishal said, you missed my question. I'm sorry, Vishal. Let me just find it. Vishal.
Do you think it's safe to bring a 6-month infant on the Milford Sound cruise flight tour?
I think it's better than doing the bus tour and cruise and bus again, because you have like a good 6 or 7 hours bus each way.
Yeah.
And so I think the infant will really hate it, being stuck in the bus, and every other passenger will hate you for that. So I think it's a better way. But maybe you should do some research about if young kids it's good for them to take so much flight. I think it's fine. So
yeah,
I would think it's the best way to do Milford Sound.
Yeah, we do have a lot of companies listed on BackpackerGuide.NZ, which shows you the different flights you can take and the different sort of cruises and stuff you can take. But when you've decided on a company, it is definitely a good idea to get in touch with them and actually see if because obviously they have sort of safety requirements on flights, and infants need to they might need special sort of seatbelts and stuff for infants, or
or sometimes they can just be on your lap. It really depends.
Exactly.
It really depends on the company.
So you do. It's always best to just sort of ask that question with the flight company, just so that they, so they're expecting you coming with an infant, and they have all the, and they make sure that they're regulated to fly with an infant. But
if you have, if you're coming to New Zealand traveling with an infant and you want to do Milford Sound, I think that the cruise flight is the best option.
Yes,
So but that's obviously just our opinion and our thoughts. We're not, expert in infant health.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for forgetting your question, Vishal. If I ever forget you guys' question, just make sure you say it in the live chat. And since I try to read everything, I'll get back to it. All right, what do we have else? Mohammed Radwan says, "Hi guys, good to see you. What are the difference between houses in terms of insulated modern? I heard most of the houses are cold." Yes, New Zealand have, in general term, very old houses which have very little insulation. Usually the walls are not insulated, the floors not insulated, the ceilings not insulated.
They have single glazed windows.
They do not know about double glazing in this country.
Yeah.
So usually the houses, especially in winter, are kind of damp and cold. So you're gonna need to crank the heater and pay a lot for power. So it's one of the drawback for like kind of long-term settling in New Zealand. Or if you work and travel and you're gonna be kind of sharing a house with other people, you've got to be aware of that. But it's nothing that's extra bunch of blankets and the heater can't fix. But yeah, it's not as well built as what you're used to in North America, in most of Europe, and all of that. So yeah, and because the weather in New Zealand is so kind of wet and windy and all of that, it makes a big difference compared to if you were to think about a place like India, where you don't necessarily kind of are too bothered by those kind of things. So yeah, that's very different than in other countries, but it's getting better. Newer houses that are built obviously have insulation everywhere. They all have double glaze and all those kind of things. But then newer houses are very expensive to buy and rent as well. So it's just gonna come back. It's just a little bit behind.
Yeah.
Anything to add on that?
Not really. No.
Cool. Zra111 GFM says, hey. Yeshuan say, thanks guys. Yeshuan say, I hope to set my foot in New Zealand soon. I had some friends from there and once lived there. Oh, cool. Where did you live in New Zealand? Oh, that's awesome. Vishal says, thanks guys, you're welcome. Ayushi Bothra say, how many days are needed in Auckland? Well, it depends how long you have for your trip. If you only have a couple of weeks, I would say just spend 1 day in Auckland and get out as fast as you can. But if you have 6 months in New Zealand, you can definitely allow yourself a week to explore Auckland and do a few things there. The long story short, what we usually think is that Auckland really doesn't represent New Zealand. So
yeah. So usually, like Robin says, if you have a short time in New Zealand, then usually 1 day to sort of explore the city, or maybe do one of the island trips that you can do from the city centre by taking one of the ferries is usually a good way to experience Auckland if you are on limited time. But yeah, again, like Robin said, if you do have a lot of time, there's definitely ways you can sort of experience Auckland in different ways. There's like museums, there's island trips you can take to like Rangitoto Island or Waiheke Island. You can go and explore some of the regional parks around, because Auckland is more than just the city. It's like a whole region with lots to see. So yeah, it just really depends on how much time you have, really.
So yeah, if you give us more context, Ayushi would be happy to help. But with so little context, it's hard for us to tell you how many days you should spend there. So tell us how long you want to travel. Tell us like what you like to do.
Yeah.
Tell us all of that. What's your budget? Tell us all of that. Dan Vago says, hey guys, no real questions. Well, then we're not going to read it. Well, it says, I had a great 2 Thursdays in Wellington, such a fun city. Flew to Gisborne and had a full day of surf. Caught the sunrise this morning, slight cloud over, but incredible.
Cool,
yeah. The sunrise is on, so Gisborne, can we show on the map where Gisborne is? Just so you guys know what we're talking about right here. So can we point Gisborne? It's on your side.
Gisborne's here.
So Gisborne is right here on the east side of New Zealand. This whole region right here is called the East Cape. And it's actually one of the first places in the world to see the sunrise every single day. Because, for example, right now for us, we are Sunday at 8:34 a.m. So for you guys, if you look at your clock, you probably see that you're behind time-wise. So we are from the future. So this place in the world is one of the first places to see a sunrise, which is quite epic. And so it's really kind of one of the famous things to do in this area, no matter where you are in there, is to actually watch the sunset. So it's one of the first sunsets. Sunrise. So it's one of the first sunrise in the world. At New Year's, for example, is really famous to go there and watch the first sunrise of the year. So yeah, and to be fair, there is also some really stunning areas. You have a beautiful, like super expanding ocean, so you see some absolute stunning sunsets. So yeah, it's a great place to watch the sunset. So yeah, good on you, Dan. I hope you get to see some more sunset there. And where are you going next as well? Sunrises. God damn it. And yeah, where are you going to be going next? Ayushi Bothra says, can you guys give me a budget honeymoon itinerary? Yeah, we definitely can. Give us some context. How long are you going to want to spend in New Zealand? What are you and your husband already or husband to be? Yeah, I was about to say husband to be. What do you guys like? So tell us a little bit of that, and then you can definitely use the map and do itineraries. If you check the channel, we actually have done so many itineraries for so many people, and we love doing that. So yeah, no problem. Give us some context. Give us some budget as well. Give us those things. Dan says, I can see why you haven't left. I really love Gisborne. Yeah, Gisborne is really an awesome place. Yeah. Have you tried some of the wine yet? There's some really awesome wines there. And when you went surfing, did you go surf with Frank? Because Frank is epic to go surf with in Gisborne. If you have a chance, type on Google or anything, Google surf with Frank. If you want a surf lesson, and he's a really awesome dude to go surf with.
We also have a video of us surfing with Frank in Gisborne. So if you just type in YouTube surf with Frank Gisborne, I'm sure you'll find our video really easily. So Frank is just to give you a bit of context, like the grandpa of surfing in New Zealand is just epic. He has the energy of 16 years old. It's just so epic. Oh God, look at my smile. All right. Ayushi Bothra says, okay, so we have a budget, we have some days, we have some time, like adventure sport, all of that. Okay, cool. We're going to be able to do an itinerary for you. And then Dan says he's heading to Ohope Beach and White Island, then Motura, Waitomo, Kaikoura. And yes, we love the wine. Cool. We have Frank's daughter set for tomorrow.
That's going to be awesome. You're going to have a blast. That's going to be fun. Tell them that we say hi. You said the team from BackpackerGuide.NZ says hi. Hopefully they remember us, but maybe not. Sometimes, not. You know. All right, cool. All right, so while you guys are warming up with some more questions, we are going to get ourselves set up with a map, and we're going to help Ayushi to plan an itinerary. So Ayushi is on YouTube right now, and she says, can you guys help me with a budget honeymoon itinerary? My budget is around 6,534 New Zealand dollars. Very precise. I like it. We have 20 days in April, and we like adventure sports. All right. So I'm guessing 6,534 New Zealand dollars is what you have on top of car rentals and on top of your flights, because that's gonna only covers like activities and accommodation, I'm guessing. So we'll basically go for the fact that you already paid for your flight and you did rent a car for yourself. And so you have 20 days, which is quite a lot. And for honeymoon, what's our main focus when we do our honeymoon itineraries? Okay, we try to find some activities which are great to do at two people, and some places as well you can visit where you don't necessarily have to hang out with a lot of people as well. You also want just one-on-one kind of place to do. So when we think about hot pools, we will recommend places where you can actually get your own like separate hot pools for yourself, and just those kind of more romantic activities. Yeah. All right, Laura, do you want to give a bit of an introduction while I load the stuff?
All right, so with 20 days in New Zealand, you'll definitely have enough time to explore both islands, which is really awesome. And so on honeymoon itinerary, you'll definitely, and with adventure as well, you'll definitely have a lot of options in every single destination that we talk about. We're going to give you a few sort of activities that you can do in each of the places. And yeah, and also there's a lot of free things to do in New Zealand as well. So you don't necessarily have to spend money every day. There's a lot of really amazing landscapes and walks you can be doing, which are free. So that's always the good thing about traveling on a budget, is that you could always do hikes and see things for free.
All right, so you're going to be arriving in Auckland. I'm just going to give all the towns right now, and then we'll give you some information on each of them.
Left hand.
Oh, harder. We changed. I don't know if you noticed, guys, but we changed the way we're doing things a little bit.
Maybe we need to change them back.
Okay, cool. Then we have Hahe in the Coromandel.
Okay. Oh, that's over here.
Rotorua. Oh, you're already getting better. Wow.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I cannot. This is very, very
Topo and Tongariro.
Oh man, control that hand. This is
So as you guys can tell, Laura usually is right-handed, and doing things with her left hand is quite hilarious. Then yeah, that's Topo Tongariro as well. Wellington.
Okay.
Abel, Tasman. Kaikoura. Lake Tekapo.
Lake Tekapo's around here somewhere.
Mount Cook. Araki Mount Cook. Yeah. That's hilarious to watch that. Milford Sound. And then Queenstown. All right. So we're going to change color as well. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about all those places and why you should go there on a honeymoon trip in a budget. So first up, Auckland. So you're going to be arriving in Auckland, and that's where most people land. The reason why you're arriving there on a budget is because that's the cheapest place to land to, usually with international flights. Now, Auckland is a pretty expensive city to live in, but as a tourist, there is a lot to do there. And there's plenty of really awesome things that you can do as a couple that still are not too expensive. So for example, you can take a ferry to an island called Waiheke Island. So Waiheke Island is probably one of the largest islands on the Hauraki Gulf. It's not the largest, but it's one of the largest, and they do a lot of wine there. So it's a really kind of great place to go for basically a date. So first up, you have a lovely cruise through the Hauraki Gulf that will take you over there. And then after, if you are on a budget, you can rent bike or take a bus ticket that goes around the different vineyards, and you go and you can sample a lot of wines. In every cellars you arrive, you always have one or two free samples. They get you to taste the wine and see those things, and you decide whatever bottles you want to buy. You can also just buy yourself a glass of wine as you go, and you can have a lovely, awesome date. For two people, including the food, because at some point you're going to need some food since you're drinking so much and everything. So you can keep that well under the $150, which is pretty awesome. So you have a cruise. We tried a lot of wine. The views are fantastic, and yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing to do. In Auckland also, it's a really nice city. So there is plenty of kind of couple of things to do. There's some great cafes and everything. So it's a great place since you're coming for 20 days to kind of take some time and relax from the jet lag.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a date as well, you can go all the way up to the Sky Tower, and from there you have a whole view of the whole city, which is pretty awesome. But there is also something called the Orbit Restaurant, which is a restaurant that kind of turns around the tower. So as you dine, you get to see more of the views around. It's really, really awesome. You can also go to Mount Eden, which is great to watch the sunset or sunrise. I keep getting
both are good from there. Yeah.
So yeah, so you can get those awesome views. So you have the whole skyline, you can see the sun kind of lighting the whole city. It's really romantic and really awesome. If you're really into the wildlife, you can also go check out an island called Tiritiri Matangi Island, which has plenty of really awesome native birds. And you can also go to a place called Rangitoto Island. So same thing, all of those are taking the ferries to go to places, but it's pretty cheap to do so, especially Rangitoto Island. You go all the way on top of a volcano. It's about an hour walk. You see lava field, lava caves, you see the crater of the volcano, and on top of that you see the whole Auckland skyline. So those are really, really awesome. And if you do have some spare money on your budget, you can go check out some dolphins in the Auckland whale watching and dolphin cruise, which is really awesome as well.
Yeah.
So all that is kind of like romantic stuff. Plenty of restaurants as well. There's some really awesome desserts places as well. So if you kind of eat on the budget and everything, but you want to go treat yourself to like a dessert, like a romantic dessert, there is Oko, I think, OKO, if you want to check that out. They do some absolutely scrumptiously delicious desserts full of indulgent chocolate.
Yeah.
Yum. Okay, then you're moving on to Hahe, which is in the Coromandel Peninsula.
Okay, so in the Coromandel, that is known for its beaches. So although it sounds quite cliche, you can take some long romantic walks on the beach. A really famous beach there is Cathedral Cove, which is known for its beautiful sort of white cliffs and archways. There's kayaking tours. If you want to have a little bit of adventure there, you can do a kayaking tour around the area, which takes you to a few caves that a lot of tourists don't really get to see if they're only just taking the walk to the beach. They won't be able to access some of the caves that you can get to by kayak, which is really cool. There's also a really famous beach there called Hot Water Beach. So when the tide goes out, there's a sweet spot on the beach where you can dig yourself a hole and some water from a hot water spring rises to the surface. And you mix that with the seawater that comes in, and you have yourself your own hot pool. So you and your hubby can have a private hot pool experience on the beach. Well, when I say private hot pool, you'll probably be surrounded by a lot of people, because it is a very busy hotspot. But I mean, you'll have your own little
homemade jacuzzi.
There. Yeah, so that's really cool as
also,
well.
he just decided to marry you, so make him work to build you a jacuzzi on the beach. Come on, he take the shovel and you just watch him.
Yeah.
All right, then we're moving on to the Topo area over there.
Rotorua is next.
Oh, sorry, Rotorua. Sorry about that. All right, so you're moving on to Rotorua. Now, Rotorua is great for an evening Maori cultural experience. It's really fun as a couple to learn about different customs from different cultures, about even just about relationship and all of that. So it's really awesome. The food is delicious, and the show is really, really fun as well. And you can compare your new husband to the Maori warriors, which is going to be having to face. So it's fun, and you can see if he's up for the task.
Yeah.
So trial him. So yes, that's really fun. There's also some really amazing hot pools, like the Polynesian Spa, where you can actually have your own private hot pools, which is really awesome. You also have some mud pools, which are really cool. There's some beautiful geothermal park, like Weotapu. They have Champagne Pool, which is really gorgeous. It's some amazing places to visit, and all of those things are not too expensive, so they're pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And then we're moving on to Taupo, which also has some hot pool as well.
Yeah. So Taupo is on the edge of New Zealand's largest lake, called Lake Taupo. And in terms of budget activities there are a lot of, there's a free hot springs there at Spa Park. So you can go and just sort of feel the geothermal hot pools there, which is really cool. There's walks alongside the Waikato River or alongside the lake, which you can go and check out. But as you mentioned that you also like to do adventure activities, and there's certainly a lot of adventure activities in Taupo, but this is obviously where the price of activities goes up a bit. You can do bungee jumping there, which is really awesome. You can do skydiving over New Zealand's largest lake.
Which is the cheapest in the country.
Okay, well, there, yeah.
Cheapest, if you want to do some adventure and want to do a skydive, you skydive above the beautiful mountain, the volcano, the New Zealand's largest lake, and it's the cheapest in the country. So,
yeah,
that's pretty epic.
And with the bungee jumping in Taupo, you can do it tandem. So both you and your husband can go together and do the bungee jump together, which is like a really awesome experience. And yeah, there's also mountain biking. If you're into mountain biking, there's mountain bike parks you can check out. Tongariro river rafting.
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
Yeah, the hike.
Oh, the Tongariro crossing. Yeah. So yeah,
it's the most popular hike in the country.
Yeah. So also there's shuttles to take you to the Tongariro crossing, which is New Zealand's most popular day hike, taking you over amazing volcanoes. So that's a really cool adventure that you can share together.
That's a lot to do.
That's quite the list. I'm sure you'll find something there.
Then you have your longest drive to drive all the way down to Wellington. Wellington is a really nice little city. They call it the world's coolest capital city. So there is plenty of quaint little cafes, little nice eateries which are fun. There is the Te Papa Museum, which is an amazing museum, seriously fantastic museum, and it's free to go to. So that's quite awesome. But most importantly, you're gonna be taking the boat, the big ferry, to go all the way to the South Island. It's an amazing cruise, especially if you can do it at sunrise. So time your time well and do it at sunrise. It is phenomenal. Yeah. And sunset as well, actually. Just don't do it in the middle of the day. But yeah, it's really, really awesome. And then you're going to arrive in Picton and also the Abel Tasman kind of national park right here. It's a beautiful place with golden sand beaches.
Yeah, so Abel Tasman, like Robin said, is famous for its golden sand beaches, and you can experience it in a number of ways. There's sailing tours, there's kayaking tours if you want to experience.
It's great for couple kayaking.
Yeah,
tours.
if you want to experience it from the water, and yeah, also the kayaking tours. If you get in a double kayak, it is a true test of your relationship if you can work together or not, or get completely on each other's nerves. So yeah, that we have experience in that. It's usually quite a funny experience getting in a double kayak, but
depends who's in front, basically.
yeah, you need to plan who sits where very well. So yeah, kayaking on the water is always a really good experience in Abel Tasman. But if you do want to stick to dry land, there is the Abel Tasman Coastal Track, which is one of New Zealand's great walks. It's a multi-day hike. I think the complete hike is about 4 to 5 days, but you can shorten that to 2 or 3 days.
Definitely.
There's water taxis that pick up at various points along the trail, so they can pick you up anywhere, pretty much, well, not anywhere along the way, but most beaches along the way. And yeah, that's basically an epic way to do your romantic walks on the beach at an epic scale, because it'll be a multi-day hike. And yeah, it's just a really good way to embrace some amazing scenery.
All right, so then we are sending you that way. So you notice that it's really different. Most people go that way around the island, but we like to send you this way just because like that you will counter current and you get less people on the road, basically.
Yeah.
So we're sending you to Kaikoura. Kaikoura is the wildlife mecca of New Zealand. Beautiful seals and seal pup. You can swim with them. It's really amazing. You also have amazing whale watching. One of the most romantic things to do is to take wings over whales. So it's a kind of a plane to go above all the whales and everything like that. It's a little bit pricey, but it's definitely worth the money.
Well,
So
actually, the flights are very similar price to the boat tours. So whichever you prefer, you can either go on the water or you can take a flight, and it will be around the same price.
Boom.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really phenomenal. Kaikoura is definitely a place to go to, but probably the most romantic place in the country, number one romantic place in the country, is our next one, which is Lake Tekapo.
Yeah, so I guess the reason why it's probably a more romantic place to go is because of the scenery. It's just a beautiful setting for your honeymoon, with its beautiful blue waters of the lake, surrounded by mountains. You can go to the Lake Tekapo hot pools there and just relax and sort of take in the amazing views. There's also stargazing tours, which again, stargazing's pretty romantic, right? So they do stargazing tours to the Mount John Observatory, which is this big, well, basically observatory with big dome telescopes and really powerful telescopes. And you sort of take a tour with astronomers, is that the right word? I have been known to get that wrong. And yeah, they basically can show you all the star constellations and show you some of the best places to see the night sky, because Lake Tekapo is within a dark sky reserve, which is really awesome. And we do have a video on that experience on YouTube. So if you just type in Stargazing Lake Tekapo, Backpacker Guide, you should be able to find our video pretty easily.
Here you go. Next up, we're going to Mount Cook. Mount Cook, something super famous for amazing stargazing. You are right under New Zealand's tallest mountain. It's some phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal views and sceneries. It's just indescribable. If you feel like doing a glacier walk, you know, that's those helicopter that lands on the glacier and you get to do a walk there and everything. One of the cheapest in the country is the one there. It's on the Tasman Glacier, which is the largest glacier in the country, and it's pretty much an intimate experience because it's much less known. I mean, we keep on talking about them, so maybe it's going to be super known, but it's much less known, so the group size are usually much smaller, so you get those icy blue caves, and it's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing place to go to. And then after, you have another kind of a bit of a long drive, but we're going all the way to Milford Sound.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And Milford Sound.
Yeah, Milford Sound is a destination that most people have heard of who are coming to New Zealand. It's described as the 8th wonder of the world and all that sort of good stuff. And it's basically a big fjord with towering mountains that have been carved by glaciers. And it's where it's on the coast, it's where the sea comes in. So there are boat tours and cruises to sort of give you an amazing scenic cruise around Milford Sound. But so the cruises themselves are very reasonably priced. They're between $40 to, it depends what type of cruise you go on, but maybe $40 to about about $100
Yeah.
or something. So yeah, they're usually pretty affordable, but alternatively, there's walks you can do around Milford Sound, and even on the road to Milford Sound, there's lots of different hikes you can be doing. And definitely with 20 days in your itinerary, you can definitely take your time getting down there. There's campsites, there's a place called Guns Camp and Milford Lodge. Both of them are sort of the only accommodations in the area, so they will need to be booked way in advance because they're obviously very popular. But if you do manage to get a spot there, then it's definitely worth staying down there and sort of really embracing the amazing landscapes around there. There's beautiful forest and things, lots of forest walks to do around there, places called the Chasm, the Mirror Lakes walk, for instance. So yeah, we could go on for ages about the amount of stuff that you can do in Milford Sound, but you can just go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, search Milford Sound, and we have articles on all the walks there and all the must-dos and all the things to do. So definitely just go and check that out and see what is best for you.
Laura, definitely like this place.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel like doing the whole drive down that way, you can actually base yourself in Queenstown and do it from Queenstown if you want to, because we recommend then you are spending some time in Queenstown. So just finish your trip in Queenstown. The reason why we want you to finish your trip in Queenstown, before we talk about things to do, is that we think you should be flying all the way to Auckland. That will save you a ton of money on gas. That will save you a ton of money on time that you need to rent the car to go up there. So if you finish in Queenstown and flight, it's much easier. If you book your flight early enough, you can have it for about $50. It can be that cheap. So that's a great idea. Now in Queenstown, there is so much to do there. Amazing food as well, plenty of eateries and cafes and everything. So you can go on date night. You're on the shore of a beautiful lake called Lake Wakatipu, which has phenomenal views and adventure activities. You get bungee, you get luge, you get canyoning, you get skydiving, you get climbing, you get paragliding, you get whitewater rafting. You get so much to do there. You're basically going to be overwhelmed with choice. You're going to be like, okay, do I do whitewater rafting? Do I do jet boating? Or do I do canyoning today? And you're just going to have so much to do right here. And so it's an amazing place to spend time in if you're into adrenaline. And I think it's going to be a great way to kind of finish your trip in New Zealand on a bang. So this is the place where we think you should finish your tour. So here you go. That's our adventure honeymoon itinerary on a budget. Again, we try to stick to about the budget that you had. And so for about 6,500 New Zealand dollars, you'll be able to afford all those activities, accommodation and food. And rent yourself a car, book your plane ticket on top of that budget, and have a blast in New Zealand. If you did find that useful, make sure to like and subscribe. We do have all of those tips and all of those itineraries actually on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So it's www.backpackerguide.nz. And then you click on travel tips and then itinerary sample. And there's a ton of them right here. And make sure to like and subscribe to say thank you for all our hard work. All right, so let's go back to live chat. Ayushi, again, she says, which is the cheapest car rental company in New Zealand? Everybody has different requirements right here, so we don't kind of like to say those kind of things. Check on BackpackerGuide.NZ. We'll link to all the company that we know, trust, and we even tell you which one are the cheapest. So
we have an article actually called like the best budget car rentals in New Zealand. So that will give you at least a list of all the ones that usually have the cheapest prices. But it also sort of compares what services they have, what sort of vehicles they do and things, or the age range of their vehicles. So that's a good way to just sort of compare and actually find a car rental company that suits your needs as well.
Yeah, so if you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, you click on travel tips, then transportation, and then car rental. And then in here, you'll have all the articles in the world to help you out find the cheapest one and book it on the spot. I mean, no website, on their website. We don't do that. All right, so Didier Defeu says, hello, to follow your recommendation, I plan to come to Christchurch in April 2020 to visit and look also for a job. Do you have some recommendation about to rent something during 1 month? We recommend you stay in a hostel for 1 month since you don't know where you're going to be staying. So a hostel or a hotel for 1 month, I think is much easier. You won't be able to rent a flat or get yourself an apartment for that length of time. If you really feel like you want a whole place to yourself, for like those serviced apartments, but even those actually, especially in Christchurch, which has such a big population of students and temporary workers, they're usually fully booked for usually longer period of time. So if you're lucky, you may be able to find an accommodation in this kind of accommodation. Otherwise, you'll have to go for hostel. But yeah, you will be able to find all our recommendations for those accommodation on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So we actually link to all the places that we've tried. We know, we check them out, and we actually just publish like all the motels and all those kind of things. So don't think that you're not gonna need to book it quietly. April is still a little bit of a busy season, so you still will have to kind of start looking kind of soonish to actually book something if it's for this April coming up. So I will start doing my research right now. So again, BackpackerGuide.NZ, then you click on accommodation, and then you choose which style of accommodation you want, and then you click on North or South Island. So for Christchurch, you click on South Island, and then you'll be able to find Christchurch very easily right there. And yeah, you have all our suggestions and everything that we know and like. And then Ayushi Bothra says, thank you so much for your time and effort. I'm really grateful. Well, you're very welcome. Just make sure to click like and subscribe on any of our videos. And that says thank you for all our hard work. So yay. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us for another one of our live session. We will be back next week at 8 a.m. Yeah, sorry, 8 a.m. New Zealand time on Sunday, which is Saturday for you guys. Saturday in the UK or in France, that is 8 or 9 p.m., depending if you're in UK or in France. If you're in the USA, 3 p.m. EST or 12 p.m. PST on a Saturday. If you are in India, it's 12:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. We're sorry, India. And if you're in Australia, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Here you go. At those times, thank you very much for all your time, guys. And yeah, in the meantime, make sure to put your question in the comments of any of the videos, and we'll pull them and we'll answer them if you guys cannot make it to the live session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you next week.